Hi, and welcome to Story Bin, Writer's Room Improv. Today we have special guests Anise White-Goff and Mark Goff. Can you guys please introduce yourself? Anise, you want to go first?
Sure. I am Anise White-Goff. I am a writer and also marketing professional based in Los Angeles, California, and excited to be here.
Great. And what projects are you guys working on?
Oh, goodness. We've got a couple of good ones that are super interesting. A one called Dr. Crime. I won't give too much away, but what would you do if you found out that your spouse was a serial killer? Just let that marinate.
Okay. That's a lot to bite off.
Exactly.
Yeah. My name's Mark. I'm the male half of the relationship, although I don't always identify that way. I'm a screenwriter and writer-producer. Also work in Nature Conservancy with a nonprofit, and delighted to be here with Anise and talk about story stuff. We've got a new project called Dr. Crime, and then we've also got one called The Beavers. And The Beavers is about a young woman from Brooklyn who realizes that her father's fraternal order of the Beavers is actually a secret sect of Gen X and baby boomer demon killers. And she's the chosen avenger. And then we've got another feature takes place in Harlem and is about wizards and dragons and all the stuff that made the Knights of the Round Table so interesting and so fun.
Awesome. All right, so let's pick a story idea.
Been away, sir. I feel good about 47.
All right, let's see what 47 has in store for us. Right here, a guy wakes up to find everyone else has lost their memory, just not of who they are, but of how things operate, basic technology of everything. Apocalypse scenario. Then they discover one other person with an intact mind who is inextricably trying to kill him. Let me text it.
Okay, guy wakes up to find everyone else has lost their memory, not just who they are, but how to operate basic technology of everything. Apocalypse scenario. Okay. Then discovers one other person with an intact mind who is inexplicably trying to kill him.
So basically he wakes up one day, he's seeing things as they are. Everybody else around him is not connected to what he's been seeing. And now somebody's trying to kill. The only other person who's like him is now trying to kill him, but he doesn't know why.
Right.
And we've got to figure out the why of why this person, what's the motivation for why this person's trying to kill him, why everybody lost their memory, and how he creates allies is where my brain goes.
Right. And, you know, the ramification of that, everybody's lost their memory for how to operate things means people don't even know how to open a door, dial a phone, use the refrigerator, nothing. Does that mean like planes are falling out of the sky? I mean, like how bad is it and how quick did it come on?
And what caused it?
Yeah.
So who is the person who wakes up in this world? Is it?
I saw Paul Rudd if it's a guy and Sandra Bullock if it's a woman. Don't know why. Those were two people that just instantly popped.
I know she's a huge Paul Rudd fan. She voted for him as the sexiest man on People. And I'm not surprised that she said Paul Rudd. But I was thinking Taraji P.
Okay, I like her too.
Wakes up because it's New Orleans. You know what I mean? Maybe she makes beignets. Maybe she's, you know, she could be a chef, she could be CIA, she could be something. But my point is, I was thinking about her, so I don't mind Paul Rudd because now I like Taraji having to kill him.
Okay, so because you went somewhere and that made me start to think, like, what's their backstory?
So maybe Paul Rudd is the pastry chef. Like, is it an ordinary guy thing? You know what I mean? Is it a regular Joe thing?
Well,
and he meets the last woman on earth and she wants to kill him.
She's not the last
Okay.
woman on Earth. She's the last woman on Earth who can open a car door, apparently.
Right. Well,
Right, well, I was
that's
going to say,
effectively
but
the
he
same.
wouldn't be making beignets though, because then the people don't even know how to get there. Like they have lost
Right.
all sense of.
Okay, so nobody knows how to smell a beignet and follow the scent and put money down on the table and buy a pastry. That's my problem with the premise is that needs solving is why would you make, even if you're the only person even if your person wants to rule all these people, right? You're now ruling a mass of angry cattle, right?
Well, but so here's a question. Are they essentially going back to being like cave people? Like, I mean, what is I think we need to figure out
capabilities?
What are their capabilities? What are they actually living like? What caused them? I need to understand all of that.
And like there's a distinction between like, if you're a car mechanic and you no longer can fix an automatic transmission, but there's a distinction between instinct and acquired knowledge. So do you still know how to eat and drink and those kind of things, but you don't know anything beyond?
Like a 2-year-old can get on YouTube and watch anything. So,
yeah.
Like that's the problem with these apocalyptic premises is it becomes like this thing where like, okay, now nobody can hear anything or nobody can fall in love.
Right.
Or what if nobody can, operate a bowling ball? Like it's a little bit like that.
Well, it sounds like we need to figure out what the specific thing is that they
the
can't
rules
do
of this
anymore.
world. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unless you can figure out really, okay, why would people wake up with this? Is it a virus? Is it a virus?
It could be.
Could be a virus. Okay. So to that
certainly
point,
goes with the times.
To that point,
so it's kind of like a chemical lobotomy.
A chemical or
certainly.
Okay, I'll give this is actually based on a true story.
It's more. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is actually based on a true story. So when I was working back in New York, my boss woke up one Sunday and was completely dizzy, couldn't get out of bed, throwing up, and got rushed to the hospital. They couldn't figure out why. Turns out they diagnosed him with something called labyrinthitis. 6 months later, I collapse in an elevator in Denver and get diagnosed with the same thing, but it is not contagious. And they weren't 100% sure, but engineers came out to the space that we were working in because we were in technology all day, every day. And we're pretty sure that it was connected to those the waves, basically, from being exposed to all of that technology. And then after I got diagnosed, another employee on the team got diagnosed with Bell's palsy. So we all had something that, So there could be something there where it's like, everyday stuff that we use caused something that we don't realize messed up basically everybody. And was there something sinister on the back end where it was like it got put into the cell phones where it basically wipes out your memory?
Right, but the chances of that affecting everybody, where there's people with no cell phones, there's people who live in caves, there's people, it's like, so,
Maybe
the other
water
question
supply.
is like, but the question is like, is it absolutely everybody, or are there enclaves of people who are unaffected that they begin to, I don't know. And I don't know if we need to solve that at this point. But,
and then that starts to sound kind of I Am Legend-ish.
Yeah, totally. And there's a few people here and there, but not many.
Yeah, but look, you got this premise that human beings around the globe suddenly don't know how to do anything with technology or any kind of skill, it seems like. Like there's so it's a collective, however it started, it's a collective amnesia.
Yeah.
All right. Meaning you just don't remember how to do it. You look at it and you go, what is this? I don't know. So somehow, this is the problem with premises like this, somehow you got to make that believable, right? Or if it's not believable, what are we talking about? you know.
Well, there's believability and there's full-blown explainability. Like if either Paul Rudd or Taraji wake up and their roommate can't tie his shoes, doesn't know what a TV is, all that, then we don't have to understand how or why any more than he does. It just is. Part of the goal would probably be to,
Okay.
at
All
least
right,
figure out what caused
I'm
it.
going to suggest I like it, Jeff. I'm going to suggest a total tone shift, right?
Yeah.
To get out of the scientific problem that this whole thing presents. Because, we just saw, like, I don't know if you saw, what's it called? Finch on
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Tom Hanks. It's a solar flare, right? Solar flare heated everything up and, did a lot of shit. So unless it's
Destroyed
like
the atmosphere, I think.
Right. So unless it's like a gamma pulse or something that the sun does, right?
Right.
That creates like they're talking about with like these.
It's almost like a stroke. It's like it blanks you out.
But they're talking about like this with this Havana syndrome and whether or not the Chinese spies are, which I'm convinced they are sending microwaves to it's like a serious problem. And so what if the sun had some gamma ray, and I keep coming back to gamma rays because that's what started the Hulk, but instead of mad green energy, it's you're now a dipshit. And you don't know how to do, like, you bump into walls, like, and you don't know what a car is, and people are like in the car and they're honking the horn, they're going ha ha ha, like you said. But the only two people this hasn't happened to for some reason is Taraji, she could be a hitman. She could be she could be whatever. She could be
right. They're even
a government operative. She could do CIA wet work, and all of a sudden her technology just went like crazy. And she's like talking to the guy next to her and he's looking at the gun and he's going, I don't know what to do with it. And he shoots himself in the head, right? And so we realize, okay, humanity's fucked. So they find each other in New Orleans. And it's a love story, and it's because it's us against the stupid human race. So it's like a metaphor. You know what I mean? Because when you're
it's kind of a zombie movie almost.
It's like but it's friendly but it doesn't stay friendly because people start to get angry and they start to you know what I mean. So
mob mentality.
They might have to hit the road. They might have to go.
So instead of them being arch enemies, they're partners in the process.
Right.
Or they could start out arch enemies and then realize that they're not a threat to each other. I don't know.
Yeah, but I see it more like that tone of a love story, a love story in the apocalypse. Now, that doesn't mean it can't get dark and she winds up killing him, right? He could say some shit about her that pisses her off and she just goes red and pushes him or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
But I see it sort of like, that Steve Carell movie, Love at the End of the Universe or something like that. It was a love story about like a comet was coming or whatever. And he has to live up to his potential. And it's that certain, like there was a time when there were these, like, let's do like that movie Miracle Mile kind of set the tone back in the 90s, which was a love story set in Los Angeles, the Miracle Mile, before a comet was going to hit the earth. It's like became a cult movie, kind of like a favorite.
So it's the kind of thing like you have 48 hours left to live. What are you going to do with it?
No, because you're stuck with dumb humanity. I mean, I see it as a metaphor for, when you're in love, like with me and my wife, it's like, I don't think of it as us against the world, but I understand that I used to think of it that way. You know what I mean? I used to think of a relationship as like, hey man, you're my ride or die. It's us against the world. Everybody else is stupid. Nobody knows how to drive. Nobody knows what food to order. Everything takes too long. The government sucks. We're global warming. Like it becomes like the lack of these people being able to do basic things becomes a metaphor for humanity not being able to do basic things to keep us alive, And so I kind of like something along those lines I can kind of relate to.
So it's like I'm thinking about all of this because it's like, you've got two people left who understand the world, but there's like a part of me of A, how do they find each other? B, like, because if technology is not working, there have to be people on the back end that are working said technology. And if everybody's brain has been wiped out, how are they finding each other? How do they realize that this is what has happened? Because it wouldn't be on TV because there's no television operators. You know what I mean? Like how do we get them there?
Right. And as a side question, like, there would have to be a few technologies that would keep running because everything is not human. It's not a human pedaling a hamster wheel to make it work in all those instances. Certain things would fall apart after a while. The other big question that arises, is this movie about them trying to fix it or just trying to navigate it and survive it?
I feel like they would want to fix it.
You would think so. It seems like it goes with this type of story.
Yeah. Mark?
And is one of them like super high tech? Are they both regular Joes? Are they both high tech? I don't know.
Well, I like that concept of like one of them maybe being like ex-CIA or something. So there's a believability of why this person would be able to defend themselves and the other person, if you will.
Right. Plus, someone who knows.
I got an idea.
Let me just pop this one half idea out while I got it in my brain. Someone with her knowledge, they can walk into any facility anywhere if it's not completely physically locked, if that helps them get to the core of what happened or how to fix it. Nothing's locked to them. You just get a chainsaw and go through the wall if the door's, a safe or whatever.
Okay, so I got a meet cute. She's there to kill somebody. She has a contract to fulfill. But the guy that she's there to kill doesn't realize you're not supposed to stand in front of moving streetcars and gets killed.
Okay.
So she's like, what the hell is going on? And realizes like cars are crashing and like, you know what I mean? Like blah, blah, blah. And then people are wandering around and then her cell phone's not working because the people who operate the stuff, like Anise said, it's breaking down. But Paul Rudd is busy baking.
He didn't even notice that it happened.
So he might not have noticed.
Right.
The gas still works. That's going to be okay. It's not going to happen instantaneously.
Right.
And she's hungry, right? And she didn't even have to kill the guy. Like, it's like, okay, and she's starting to get hungry and she smells the beignets and it brings back these memories. Maybe she's from New Orleans, originally. She hasn't been back there in a while. And so she follows her nose to the thing and she sees him baking but she's also looking around while like, people are starting to like panic and, and maybe he brings her in the place, like what's going on out there kind of thing. Now, the fix might be in terms of like, do they have to fix it or whatever? I don't know how you're going to fix. If we're going with the solar flare thing, with the gamma ray thing, I don't know how you fix that. But maybe it does become like a survival romance thing, love story.
Right.
But the amnesia, the collective gamma ray amnesia, is actually only temporary.
Okay.
How
It's
long
actually
would it
only
be?
temporary. And when the world kind of wakes up in a week or whatever it is, they're the only two people that really know what happened.
Right.
So are we telling the story of what happens during that week?
It seems like it. What if all you have to do is wear a tinfoil hat and you're immune from the gamma rays?
They could both ironically have plates in their heads that they got when they were
Right.
kids, and they're in the exact spot.
So, okay, let's go back though, because I think I don't know
fell out
if
of the tree, the other one, got hit by a bus or something. And so the gamma ray, went bounced.
well, but okay, so are we saying that this is like an action adventure, or is this a love story, or is it both?
It could be a wacko, goofy comedy too.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think it's an action movie per se.
Okay, I like the idea of comedy. I feel like we need some.
I think they may have a goal to get somewhere,
Uh-huh.
somewhere that's like away from people and maybe safer.
Well,
Because you got to remember, like, people are going to get hungry. They're going to steal your shit. It's not like they haven't forgotten how to kill you,
Right.
or steal your shit.
And I mean, if they were trying to get to the NORAD underground bunker, would there be people 6,000 feet underground that haven't been bombarded by this? Which would also mean that there would be other people who didn't get it, but that might be one place they could go that at least offers them safety from the mobs and potentially people who didn't get their brain zapped or something like that.
But you also got to care about the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to build a story here without really even knowing who the characters are or care about the characters that much.
Right.
I mean, Paul Rudd could be the classic, what we call the weird alone guy. His heart's been broken. He's maybe had to, leave his kids with his wife. Who knows? Maybe it's about him going to see his kids and teach him how to use an iPhone again. He's got to decide. Do I teach these motherfuckers how to use an iPhone again? Maybe I don't.
Right.
But I feel like him and Taraji coming together, I like the idea of what you were saying, where she kind of like gets hungry and follows her nose. But then at the same time, I'm like, there's pure chaos happening around her. And she's like, shit, I got to get out of this.
Right.
And maybe he's already seen some of the chaos and locked the door because it's like, what the hell's going on? And sees her.
Okay, so does she have a survival bunker somewhere?
Yeah.
And has to bring him because he's the only person who hasn't lost all memory of how to open a can open a cup of yogurt or whatever.
Okay, so are we saying that she essentially knew this was going to happen and they had given her something that would keep her safe?
She didn't know. I don't think she knew this was going to happen, but she knew some shit was going to happen. Right?
Okay.
After Trump and MAGA and all that shit, she was like, She was like, I'm having a fucking bunker. It's going to be for, my select people or whatever, but all her select people are now boneheads.
Right.
So she needs him because if they can figure out, if they can cure it, maybe she is that proactive. Maybe she's like, no, we got to figure this shit out. So she kind of kidnaps him and, because he doesn't necessarily want to leave. You know what I mean? He wants to keep baking or doing whatever. I don't know, but maybe she takes him with her and, it's about them getting to her farm or her ranch or whatever it is where she's a prepper. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not until, they could be debating, like, how do we fix this? Like, what happened? Like, they go through each other's lives and figure out, like, okay, what's the common denominator that we have here? And maybe it's not until the end that they realize, oh, we both have plates.
It seems to be missing something in terms of genuine traction. Like we're kind
some
of
connective
spinning our wheels
tissue.
in place in a certain way and not found some railroad track to drive on somehow.
Good story runs on two tracks, the heroes and the villains.
Right.
If we're missing traction,
We
it's
are.
because we don't have an antagonist.
We need a Dr. Evil.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Yeah.
We need our Dr. Evil.
We need our Dr. Evil.
We need our Blomfeld.
That certainly gives them somewhere to go and a
Mhm.
mission and a goal and all that stuff. If they can figure out who did this and how they well, obviously you'd stand a profit if you can just literally go from bank to bank and fill semi-trucks full of gold bars. That's something. Like you can do
You
anything.
can't buy anything because nobody knows how to use a cash register.
Yeah, I mean, the world is wide open for whoever set this up, whatever they want to do. I mean, you go burn the Pentagon down and like anything. You can literally get away with anything. And maybe it's designed to last only a week and they have to do their revolution before people wake back up to be able to stop them.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. So the Dr. Evil, whoever he's going to be, he's out to get all the riches that are in the world. And so he knows he has a week basically to clear out the cash reserves around the world. And so that's his driving factor. But he thinks that he zapped everybody and doesn't realize that these two didn't get zapped.
Okay.
So they've got to figure out what's really going on, figure out how to stop it, and then who to stop. So now they have a mission.
Right.
Mark, your face is saying no, but
No, I'm thinking. I like the bad. Look, we got to have a bad guy, otherwise.
gotta
it
have
can't
a
be
bad
just-
guy.
It can't be just one guy or you couldn't possibly take enough action to do whatever the takeover constitutes unless it's purely can be done by computer. But it seems like you'd need some kind of operatives in the field to help you pull that off.
I go in a different direction with the villain.
Okay.
Because, if you get back into character, why would you do this to humanity? What are you angry about? There's other ways to steal money. You know what I mean? There's other ways.
Yeah. The money doesn't seem like the most efficient thing you could do because it's too overwhelming. You'd need like 1 million people to just get to all these places, break in, get away with it and put it somewhere.
I think, look, for me, the villain can be, I don't know, maybe he's angry about something, right? I mean, otherwise, why would you do this?
Well, it could be like an eco warrior who's out to save the planet, put the world to sleep for a month, fix it, wake them back up, and it's already been solved, kind of. They can't put it back in place the way it was before.
I do kind of like an angry Greenpeace activist.
But then the hard part is it's like, okay, but then do you really want to stop him? Because we kind of need a reset.
Well, that would be part of the ending then. They find out what this person's really up to. And it's like Sherlock Holmes figures out who did the murder and they realize the person that was killed was a horrible monster and he helps the killer get away.
But, the great monologue would be, when the villain does their monologue, this is why I created this. And because they're taking an enormous amount of power to do this. And
Yeah.
the hero could say, Taraji could say, your shit's not even carbon neutral, bro.
Right.
So, I mean, I could see that somebody somehow has thrown a switch.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just call it a switch. Okay.
And it's like a temporary Mickey Finn for most of the people on the planet.
Exactly. It's a targeted neuron CC
Disruptor.
It's a targeted magnetic disruptor that affects the brain in such a way. Literally, I'm serious about those plates.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they have in common. And so a switch has been thrown. Now that switch has been thrown. That switch can be turned off, right?
Yeah.
So somehow somebody was able to throw a switch or a switch that electromagnetically did whatever, sent a frequency around
Like
the
a jamming,
world.
like jamming radios.
Yeah, because, and it came through our cell phones, ironically, right?
Right.
It came through everybody's cell phone, right? So they have to decide as they become a couple, whatever they wind up being, they have to decide, do we actually want to throw the switch?
Right. But it seems like whole nations would self-destruct pretty quickly as people like blow up their buildings, not knowing what propane is. And
That's what I've been saying. A giant got to get away from it. Now, maybe when they get away from it and they're spending time together, maybe they kind of like try to figure out the mystery of who's doing this. And maybe there's something in her background where she was in military intelligence or she was in something where there's a certain network somewhere that never goes down, right? There's a network out there that NASA and Space Force, and she's like, remember that Space Force bullshit? Well, they did do one thing right. You know what I mean? And so maybe there's a space, because you got people on the space station too. Maybe the people on the space station are the only ones who this hasn't happened to either, because and maybe that's how they realize it, that there's something happening on the Earth, because the International Space System, the astronauts are fine, right?
but they're cut off because there's nobody on Earth that knows how to reply to them.
Right.
They're not that cut off. What I'm saying is this is the secret network that she learned about in military intelligence. And so she's able to get on there and see, and they could see chatter from ISS. They could see, okay, nothing from the Pentagon, nothing from this, nothing from it. So maybe they even call the astronauts and they're like, hey, just checking in down here on Earth. Like, are you guys stupid or not? You know, somehow there's a trail of breadcrumbs.
Right.
That's the spine taking us through, the second act and stuff, is the breadcrumbs that lead us to whoever was able to throw the switch to do.
Right. And it could be satellite origin.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's from Space Force. Or it's an Elon Musk thing. His crazy ass.
Right.
He's got these multiple these satellite arrays.
Yeah.
To, do whatever the fuck he's trying to do. And that could be the villain. The villain could be somebody who, oh, you don't want to give me a contract to go to Mars? Okay, I'm going to reset humanity. You know what I mean? You're not going to let me build a casino on Jupiter? Okay, fuck you. I'm going to reset humanity.
But okay, what does that character get from doing that? Yes, you reset it, and now what?
He gets power.
Okay. So he gets the power. So what happens when people get their memories back?
He or she gets power. Could be that chick who did who's on trial right now, like that kind of thing. The Thanos.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like she's like just something not right. Something's not cooking there right.
Right.
And she got an axe to grind. Right. It's like, okay, you want to punish me? I'm going to punish you. But I like an Elon Musk, something happens where the government or somebody doesn't do what he wants to do and he loses his shit and he's like, you don't understand. I'm trying to save humanity here with my global green program, right? So he uses the Space Force thing. He uses the array along with his own satellites to focus gamma rays or focus whatever. And our hero and heroines are the ones who have to figure it out.
Okay, because they're the last two left. And that's also interesting because they don't know how long this is going to last. They just know that it's there.
Yeah. Right. And they could wind up having dinner and everything together, you know what I mean? And like doing the old James Bond kind of the table with the, but spoof it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do it kind of like, I kind of see it sort of like, I don't know, Anise, if you ever saw Idiocracy by Mike Judge, but I kind of see that kind of tone.
Yeah.
Okay.
like an action version of Idiocracy, kind of.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the sleigh ride in this story. The other thing that keeps popping up in the back of my brain is, remember What Women Want? Mel Gibson gets the ability to read women's minds, and his two assistants at his office, he can't read their mind because they don't think. He's just kind of standing there staring at them, and they're looking back at him like, what? There's nothing going on inside. Like, what if some of the people that were already substantially stupid are unaffected by this thing? So they still can rebuild a transmission or drive a car. Like, they're not smart, but they still know how to do their normal shit. That could become some of their crew, maybe. Just playing here. And how does the Elon Musk, what does he have his top scientists protected so they can keep operating? Because if it's only him, then his machine's dead too.
Yeah, he's got a select a group of people. I think that definitely, yes. I just keep seeing Dr. Evil and his crew sitting around the table.
Right.
I see the opposite. I see he freezes everybody. He thinks he's freezing everybody and teaching everybody a lesson about how incredible he is. And if only people were smart enough to see it. And he can hit the code on the machine and reset it, and you know, he could do the whole thing. But it's up to this couple to convince him somehow. It's almost like, you know how William Shatner in Star Trek, there'd be this like advanced society or technology, or even like people who could use their minds to like, but it would always be down to Kirk having to use his human smarts, almost his street smarts, to short circuit the omniscient alien, you know.
Right. Or just by thinking on his feet, he outwits them. Even with something that's so dumb, the aliens are too smart. They can't wrap their brain around it.
And it might be Paul Rudd. I mean, Paul Rudd could have read some like he could read philosophy and he bakes beignets. I mean, he's like the last guy that Taraji would fall in love with. You know what I mean? And vice versa. Like they just come from these different worlds, you know, but he's got some knowledge from reading books and like, cause he's not on his phone. He's not on all that stuff. You know what I mean? He's a
Renaissance man, jack of all trades.
No, he's an anachronistic.
Oh,
he prefers a time before. He prefers. And being a chef, being a pastry chef, you're doing ancient things. You know what I mean? And and so I like it. I mean, I like this character a lot. I fucking hate the premise, but.
Yeah, the premise is lacking in certain things to grab onto in a certain way.
Right. You're basically having to start with the who, what, when, why, and where, and then find an arc and a way in. Like, I feel like that log line was way down the path before we, you know, there's a lot of story that needed to come.
But kind of like what a thread I do kind of like is it becomes an Adam and Eve story in a way. You know, where, you know, patriarchy of the Industrial Revolution and, you know, with the guys like, you know, guys like Rockefeller, guys like, you know, who built railroads, that they were the god of commerce. You know what I mean? They were the corrupt gods of commerce. Now those corrupt gods are the Zuckerbergs, the Twitter guy, the people who control information. So I think as a society, what we're trying to do now is we're trying to reckon with these deities, right, that we're all subscribing to via technology. And I think, you know, this story could be a bit of a metaphor without stretching it out too far because it's crazy, but it's a metaphor for like Adam and Eve confronting God and saying, do you really see what you're doing here?
Right.
You know what I mean? I see it as like a recreation story, you know?
Well, and it also kind of speaks to the nature of us essentially being beholden to all of this technology and how much it has essentially taken over our lives and how do we take some of our lives back?
Right. Can't live with it, can't live without it.
Yeah.
The thing that was popping up to me was that Taraji and Paul could be such different creatures, and yet the one place in which they could have, like, they're on the same plane is like with knives. Like if she's an assassin and he's a chef, then they could both be phenomenal with knives, and they could be like, damn, look at you go.
I'm seeing sexy knife play, Jeff.
Totally.
Sexy knife play.
And some great fights too.
That doesn't even seem that like those two, sexy and knife play. Just no. No.
The thing with the hand, you know, you know, they're doing each other's hand. One's doing one and one's doing the other. And
No.
little blood gets on her finger and he puts it in his mouth. And,
No.
ooh, it's good.
No, it's not good. That just sounds disgusting.
I like your linkage though, Jeff. You want a really sharp knife? You should try my Ginzo 3000. You know, it should be like, what? You got a Ginzo 3000?
Nobody can get those.
Right.
It's like samurai steel, and, you know.
If he's really anachronistic, maybe he makes his own knives, which is very samurai type. They make their own swords, or some of them.
That makes them sexier. It's like, make your own knives and you make a good beignet. Okay.
And she says, hey, would you make a knife for me? And, you know, maybe he's making a knife for her at the farm before they figure out the Elon Musk thing. And that's the knife she uses to kill him and flip the switch.
But I thought this was a comedy. Are we killing?
Options, just an alternative ending.
Yeah, it's like Dumb and Dumber meets Deadpool.
Kind of see it like an indie movie, basically. It's definitely an indie movie from what we're talking about in indies. Well, assuming we're talking about a movie, it's quirky, end of the earth, figure it out, small cast aside from the extras, and it's a story about a couple falling in love while they try to save the earth.
I'm almost hearing weirdly like a Rocky Horror Picture Show vibe.
Huh.
Are you hearing songs?
Yeah, like something there. I mean, if we're doing small and indie and this couple has to go figure out how to save the world, like, I don't know, that just popped in my mind. Maybe it's because I was watching it on Halloween, but like some elements of that kind of thing where this couple finds each other and then stumbles into this world.
But that would mean that there would then be like street-wide musical pieces with all the zombies dancing and singing. And then you go back.
Yeah, because the only thing that they haven't forgotten how to do was to sing and dance.
Well, it's definitely creating with the Tim Curry vibe. I'm getting sexy knife play all day.
That's the only way it would make sense. Like,
you know, it's such a bold movie. It's such a bold movie. I mean, I'm sure it's been stated a million times. You know, it's been a long time since I've seen it, and we were watching it in bed. I was like drifting in and out of consciousness. You really you see sort of the, you know, the stuff around gender, stuff around the darkness of it, but also the light. Like it's a really wonderful, bold film. It's an incredible movie.
The last time I saw it was in a theater where we threw rice and everything.
Nice.
I remember those days. Yeah, it holds up in a totally different way where you see how far ahead of its time it actually was.
Huh.
You know?
Well, and that kind of gives this story the kind of wacko spin that it probably needs too.
That was my point. Like, this can't be grounded in reality. Like, it's gotta just be, go for it, go all the way out, let it be crazy, and the crazy is what we love.
Yeah, because the more you try to ground it to reality, the less sense it makes. The holes are too big.
Exactly.
I'm not so sure about that. I think it is such a you know, out there premise that you do have to ground it.
Mostly for me, it just feels like there's gigantic missing pieces in the story at this point, which is okay because we're really just experimenting with like, what would this story even look like as a movie or a TV series? And we've definitely kind of circled around that and played with that and poked it and come up with a couple possible scenarios. Not sure how much further we can take it, but we've taken it for a ride.
Yeah, I think we got some different kind of perspectives that, it's like we started in one place and then we ended up in a completely different other. And it's like you said, Jeff, though, there's some gaping holes. And I think trying to fill those in, and this is why I struggle with it being too grounded in reality, trying to create real backstory for these people with what the premise of it is just, I don't know that anyone would care. Like, I feel like people would go see this because they're like, I want to escape. I don't want to think. I just like, I don't need it to even make sense. I just want to laugh.
Well, now I think about it, for me, what comes up is I get a Zombieland tone.
Yeah.
More now, the more that I think about it now, the zombie trope is the zombie trope. There's no real, I think they have a destination to get to. What is it? Theme park?
Yeah.
But, for the spine of the story, it goes back to what does my hero want? What do my heroes want? Who's preventing them from getting it?
Right.
And whether that's external or internal. So, if it's about them getting to her ranch or her, prepper place, that's one thing. But meanwhile, they're trying to solve the mystery. They're also kind of romancing the stone. They're falling in love. But then there's a secondary threat that comes to the farmhouse, let's say, where she's at, or the loft building, whatever, and it relates to people being stupid, you know what I mean? Or not knowing how to use technology, that it has to go back to that, to where, somebody accidentally drives a truck into the building, people start to stream in and they realize, oh, did you leave the door open? And, so now they got to get out of there. They're out of their safe place. And that's when they realize, look, if we don't try to really figure out what's causing this, we're going to keep running the rest of our lives from stupid people.
Right.
And that's just no way to live. Right.
Welcome to America.
They have to make that. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is why it's kind of a metaphor for this Adam and Eve couple that are kicked out of the Garden of Eden, right? And they now have to figure out, why did they get kicked out and how do they get back in? I just want to get back to my old life where I can use Instagram and I can fucking go on TikTok and laugh at shit, or like Anise loves to play her computer game, her video game on her phone. Like, she just wants her simple shit back. She wants her soaps.
Okay. Was it really the Garden of Eden? Maybe this is when they realized, like, we've been lulled into this false sense of security and it really wasn't working.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They think the Garden of Eden is not, the garden is in here. I think that's what the Bible is saying ultimately, right? So if you use that trope of it comes from within or whatever, like, for when they realize that, because they do actually fall in love with each other, I mean, she could even consider, maybe I just hang out with Elon and fuck everything else. You know what I mean? Who knows? It could get complicated, right? But you need that, that external push from the villain, which in this case is the bad guy they're chasing, and humanity itself, right? The people being stupid. It's already hard enough dealing with stupid people now. Imagine dealing with stupid people that don't know a whole bunch of other stuff.
I mean, they really don't know they're stupid.
Right. And so I think, the stupidest of. And so I think that's and that borrows from Idiocracy too. I think that's the milieu that they're in. And that's the theme running through that second and third act, is like, dealing with stupid people is harder than you think.
It almost sounds like a Mel Brooks movie.
Kind of ish.
I like that.
Kind of ish. I see like a Zombieland, Mel Brooks-ish kind of.
Zombieland meets Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
I think that might be its final form at this point. It seems like we've probably ridden this thing as far as we can. But this was fun. This was good to get out there and try and make a horse race out of this story.
At first, I thought there was no way you could get anything out of this. But I think to, sort of the point of your show and, your idea here is that you might be surprised what you do get if you're stuck with it.
Yeah, or just, try it a couple different ways.
Yeah.
It kind of goes with exploring the extremes in any developing story. What's the craziest you could make it? What's the most dangerous? What's the scariest? Just to see what the outer limits of the story parameters are. And sometimes some of them work great. But mostly this is just like seeing story experts wrestle with a new story. That's, I think, the gist of this podcast is just fun to see people jump in and build.
For me, it's funny because this also is in some ways kind of like marketing strategy, which is what I do, where we start with the extreme and you just come up with all the ideas and throw everything out there and then start to scale it back and go, okay, what's the goal? How does this fit into the goal? And then start to create the story around that. And that's what this feels like, which is fun, which is always fun for me. And it's fun, being able to work with my husband, and first of all, his brain and the way it works. Sometimes I'm like, how did you even begin to think that idea? But then it's like, well, what about this? And I think that's why we work good together, because he can come with an idea and then we start just spitballing and throwing everything at it and then starting to shape it from there.
Yeah.
I am sometimes odd and I'm like, that's a gift. It's not everybody doesn't have that.
Hey, listen, I'll take it if I can get it. But, I've been doing this work for a long time, and it's always way easier to take somebody else's kind of an idea and riff off of it and build off of it, because it's not yours. You're not
right. And there's no consequences. You can just have fun with it.
Yeah. It's a good challenge, Jeff. I'm glad you had us on.
Yeah,
thanks. It was great having you guys. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Good. Thank you. Well, happy holidays and please stay safe.
Absolutely. You too.
Thank you. Best of the family, Jeff. It was good seeing you, man.
Absolutely. All right. We'll see you guys around.